Wonder how many Beatles sessions that happened. All right, music people. It is Thursday. We're at Cactus Music World headquarters. This is the drop. That's Quinn Bishop. Do you have the list? He's got the list. Let's get to it. New music coming your way. Hit it.
I want to talk about an in-store we're having this weekend. Jane Woe on the Cactus stage, celebrating the release of their Sauce Tex album that just came out at the beginning of this year. I like it when local artists release new albums at the beginning of the year because they don't have as much competition in the racks. This is edition of 300 on it's Sauce Tex is Jeff from Hickoy's label.
Oh,
so
right.
It's cool. And this is a country record.
Keeping it in
Even
Texas,
though you got
man.
a bunch of great, really Houston punk musicians on this record.
Yes.
And
the Beatles.
And the Beatles.
I hear Beatles music somewhere, but keep going.
And fun record, country record, great guitar work. And
legendary Mr. Scott Ayers.
Stop by the in-store 3 p.m. on Saturday.
Okay.
Enjoy a complimentary St. Arnold beverage. See a free show. It's going to be a good time.
Let's do it.
And we'll see you there.
Right, intimate setting on the Cactus stage. Always a good show. Always a good show.
Let's talk about some new music. The Smile Wallabies, their sophomore effort. Their debut was critically acclaimed and topped all of the critics lists. Of course, the band is Tom York and Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead, along with Tom Skinner, who's an amazing drummer from Sons of Kemet, really kind of leading the British jazz movement over there. And he's one of those drummers that defies, you'd have to add 5 other job descriptions onto his name because he's way more than a drummer.
I've heard a lot of Sons of Kemet and, of course, love the drumming. I listened to maybe 1 or 2 Smile songs. Mm-hmm. Not my cup of tea. It's not my thing, but I know it's important, and a lot of people are
is
in
here. It's even a little farther out. It's very improvisation. Is what I would say.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
So, but check it out if you're a Radiohead fan. They're on hiatus. You might as well check this out. Okay, this is I purposely chose not to feature the LP box set on this because I have tendonitis in my elbow. So we don't want to have to pick it up. Hey, CD, 8 CDs, Dire Straits Live, 1978 to 1992. This pulls together all of their released live recordings along with Live at the Rainbow, which I don't know that that's ever been available before.
Never heard of it.
This runs the complete history of the band from formative stages with the first record all the way to the end of the line. One of the greatest guitar players. What I heard, where did I hear this? That there's a guitar auction. With
yes, I think it was last Saturday. Yes, some Christie's, Sotheby's, somewhere in New York. But he's got the Money for Nothing Les Paul.
Which one did you get?
None. The Telecaster. I think he plays that reddish telly.
Oh yeah,
and it's not a Fender. Somebody. It's not an Ibanez. I don't know, but I think that was Walk of Life, right? Yeah. Made very famous. And then the Pensa Sir double cutaway that he was known for playing.
I don't have enough pennies to buy a Mark Knopfler guitar at auction.
No. But remember that very grainy MTV video for Sultans? Sure. Yeah, he's on the Strat. Yeah. The Strat is not guitar in there. I don't know if he even has that Strat.
One of the greatest.
People love him though.
Guitar players love him. Smart Financial Center. He played all custom guitar. He didn't play one.
Those were all the Pensa guitars. Yeah.
Pretty good. Great great tone.
Yeah.
Great tone. One of the great guitar players.
Go
of
get
the
it.
20th century. But if you don't have that, maybe pick up the live box set if you didn't have enough money to buy a guitar from a music video.
And if you only know the hits, this is a good way to get into some of the other songs.
Deep band. They really stretch out on the live stuff.
Yeah, man.
Okay, let's talk about a Lil Durk record. This is finally on vinyl. This fits the finally on vinyl category. This is 2023 release. You can finally get the LP. A lot of hip hop music, they drop it as soon as they can. Sometimes the digital even is in advance of the CD. I kind of like this album cover is kind of shocking. It's like he fell off the back of a truck or something. Yeah.
This is the first, I think, vinyl, right, from Lil Durk we featured in the history of
there might have been one before, and there's some guests, as with most contemporary hip hop records. There's a few guests on there.
A lot of people.
Run them down for
sure,
me,
man.
Tell them what you know.
J. Cole, Future, 21 Savage, Kodak Black, and the one that's kind of unexpected.
I would say that.
Morgan Wallen. Yeah, there you go.
How about that?
Maybe he's got maybe he loves a little hip hop on the side. Anyway, there you go.
Emerging,
Chicago,
big name, Chicago
rapper.
Yep.
Very cool.
Okay, I don't think we've ever talked about this band, but they're really a divisive band. They're one of those bands people either love them or hate them. Ruben, I don't know how you feel about it, but there's a brand new record from Future Islands people.
There's
who
that
are there. There's Sabbath.
Carolyn Sampley. Yeah, I can't get up. I'm in the middle of the live stream.
But I
think she has a cave.
I understand why people dig them. They're captivating live. You've seen any live footage of these guys. It's super exciting.
Yeah.
They were Letterman, right?
That's why. Great performance from their front man. I forget his name.
Why it's Samuel T. Herring.
Yes, well, Samuel T. Herring made a friend, a fan out of David Letterman. Go Google it. Future Islands on Letterman.
And
you see what I'm talking about.
He's kind of this, I would say, that Samuel. I don't think he would mind me saying, does not have the classic frontman good looks, but makes up for it with crazy enthusiasm, charismatic performances. And this is like a
charismatic vocals too.
Mm-hmm.
He does a lot with his voice.
And he is Joe Cocker of indie rock, right? He twists it up.
I would go see this live.
I would go see them too. And they're a kooky band because it's keyboard, drums, and bass, right?
Yeah.
So it's modern synth pop.
Yeah. Little 80s-ish.
Check them out if you haven't heard them. It's super 80s. Actually, to me, that's kind of my beef with them. I had a former bandmate that loved Aha and played Aha all the time.
Yeah,
it sounds a little too much like Aha.
It's too much in that wheelhouse. Okay, that makes
every time I hear it, I'm like, Aha.
See,
that wasn't a setup for a joke. That's
not
the
at
truth.
all.
That's
not
a
at
real
all.
story.
Viewers are calling already. They want to buy it.
I should have put the Lil Durk in this one back to back, but I didn't do that. Lil Tecca, Tech finally out on LP. This is another finally on vinyl. LP was trailing the CD and digital a little bit. This has the big hit, 500 pounds on it, and Kodak Black is on this one as well.
Yeah, he is indeed.
Yeah, another really emerging hip hop artist that's just kind of blowing up. Continue. I like this. He's in his house with his gold records, girlfriend in the bed. This is like, he's like, I made it.
He's like, I got everything I need right here.
Yeah, totally.
And he's got the he's obviously certified on YouTube. He's got his YouTube. I don't know if that's the 100,000 or what is that, or is that the 1 million? I don't know. But they give you one for the milestones. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I actually did not know.
So you'll see it in some streamer if they are over 100,000 subscribers. You'll see it in the corner somewhere. That people put it up because it's a thing.
Right on. That's cool. And I love his previous album titled "We Love You, Lil Tecca." It's like such a affirming album title.
Valentine to himself.
Yeah, totally. Okay, we're gonna get rocking here. We got the new record from the Menzingers. This is Some of It Was True. This is a Philly punk band. This is a really hard touring band. Like they're always on the road. This is their 7th album. I think the curious thing about this record is that the producer is Brad Cook, that's really known as kind of a moody, produced all the Bon Iver records, produced War on Drugs.
Okay.
And that is not what this sounds like at all. It is like a rock. If you don't think a good producer makes all kinds of different records, they give you this record. But very distinctive vocal from the front man. I dig it. They have a bunch of huge fans. I don't really remember them playing here too much, but
no, I don't either.
Guitarist Greg Barnett said, "We just really tried to make a fun record," and I think they did that.
Nice.
So check it out. If
Some
you're not
of it
familiar
was
with them,
true.
they're cool. They're kind of just straight down the middle, rocking stuff. Okay, so this is another archival release. This record is a really interesting story. This is the great Daniel Johnston, alive in New York. There he is there with his music stand, which I will say that all the times he played here with us, he used a music stand. This has a crazy story in that they don't even know where exactly this was recorded. Kramer, the producer, it was Shimmy Disc is his label, and Daniel was signed to. He found a 20-year-old DAT tape that had this recording on it.
Wow.
And they didn't change any. They didn't augment it in any way. But supposedly it's like one of his best recorded live records. And you're hearing it. It's from year 2000. So, man, almost 25 years down the road.
That's
it is.
nuts.
I dig it when things like that get snatched back from the brink.
The ether. From the event horizon.
Yeah. Cool record. People will be be into that. And then I think this is really going to be a big record. This is an artist that 4-time Grammy winner, critics darling. But this record, this is the new Sarah Jarosz record, Polaroid Lovers. Look how cool she looks, man, hanging out in that orange suit with those green shoes. Hair all kind of stacked up. Pretty cool looking. So she did this record with Daniel Tashin. She's traditionally a bluegrass artist from Wimberley, Texas, by the way.
So Tashin, obviously Nashville, great songwriter, has millions of people have recorded his music.
And transformed Casey Musgraves to being the artist like her huge monster breakthrough pop record.
He's a big dude.
And this
is an important guy.
They're really setting her up to do this on her.
That'd be great, man.
This is her 7th record too. It's like it's not like
I don't even think I've heard any of her stuff. I saw this on the list. I didn't have time to listen to it.
Oh, she's great. She's got a beautiful voice. Great instrumentalist.
I should buy it just because the last track is called Mezcal and Lime.
I thought of you.
That's right in my mind.
Yeah. And
I like orange slices.
We're hoping to have her back on the Cactus stage.
Call me for that one because I'll be here.
It will be a good one for sure.
I'll mix drinks. I'll make some drinks.
We're back on the punk rock trail. Kinda. New Alkaline Trio record. I do like the album title, Blood, Hair, and Eyeballs. These guys have a ton of fans. Now they took 6 years off, and I will say, and I don't know. There's no way they could have known what was going to happen over the last 4, but if you're going to take 6 years off, good time to do it.
It's a good time to do it.
Good time to do it.
And their guitarist was filling in, or at least kind of a member of Blink-182 for a while.
I think. Oh yeah, that's right.
And then they kind of said, "Hey, you know what? We're getting the band back together in the original lineup."
Well, this thing popped huge. Rise Records recording artist. A lot of anticipation for this record. It really overperformed what we thought it was going to do, and I think you got to love the first.
I should buy it just for
the first song
for Preacher. How has no one done that yet?
I don't know.
That's brilliant.
I thought the same thing. It's great.
Brilliant. This is on black bone bow tie vinyl, ladies and gentlemen. So come get that.
And I will say, you see this with a lot of bands that haven't made a record while they come back. It is exactly what you want from them. It is like
sounds like the band you love.
It's kind of this Misfits meets The Cure kind of thing. That's all good. That's what they want. Okay, our last new release proper, Stones reissued their Hackney Diamonds, great album from 2023, amazing record from them, and they paired it with the Live at the Racket, which was the surprise show they did in New York City. So you got most of that show, I think, including a guest appearance from Lady Gaga.
Nice.
To kick it off with Shatter. I mean, I don't know what my expectations for was it, but it's really good. So fans have been trying to find that online for a while, and now you can buy an official version of it. It's really kind of priced. I don't think it's priced any more than the standard edition of the CD. So if you've held off buying that,
now's the time people
to grab it.
Jump on it.
Let's talk about some reissues. We have some really interesting ones to chat about today.
Let's go.
And I want to kick it off. There's been several of these releases which we didn't cover because they weren't as high profile. But Rhino Records, the great Rhino Records, Warner Music Group, they have started doing these Blu-ray audio called quadio because you can play them in multiple formats. But it's classic albums in a quad mixed for 4-channel stereo. And you might remember, if you're an LP fan, you'd see those quad LPs back in the day. These are the CD versions. The reviews on this thing are great. This is the monster, monolithic Black Sabbath Paranoid album, essential. Everybody's got to have it. Big record, and people are just raving about this process they're using to create these. And they did some other records. They did the Spinners' first record, which I love. Some other titles, and they're all selling out of the pressings really quickly. We've done really, really well with this. Of course, you got to have the right kind of player. You have to have your 4 speakers wired up and in Blu-ray, but I think it recognizes, it just automatically switches over to that if you're playing it. So I've heard great things. So if you're set up for quad, check it out.
Perfect.
They even put it in a new kind of case that if you break it, you're screwed, because where are you going to find another one of those?
Exactly.
Okay, we're going straight down the middle here with this one. This is oddly, Volume 2 has been available. Journey's Greatest Hits Volume 1 has not been available on LP in years.
That's nuts.
Finally back at you.
You know every song.
Every song. They even expanded, I think, to include a couple of others, but every hit on there. And we don't really have to talk too much about that, but it's there. Go grab it.
It's nuts,
people all the time say, get Journey's Greatest Hits. No, it's not available.
No, we have it now.
I mean, some of the individual albums were available before this was available. So there you go. Grab that sucker. Okay, for Texas, this is big release. We've done very, very well with this record. We've hosted this gentleman for in stores before. This is the great songwriter John Moreland. He's from Oklahoma, but he was born in Texas. So we're gonna give him credit for that. This is his record, In the Throes. 10-year anniversary on this record, and this is really, really fantastic record. His first record was kind of more of a straight country folk record. This one is very spare in instrumentation. The track I love is the Break My Heart Sweetly song. It's just voice and guitar. He's got a terrific voice, really, really strong songwriter. Sweet. And it's interesting about him because you think, okay, he's a country folk singer songwriter, and he's connecting with a lot of kind of the outsidery folk, more indie rock kind of people are discovering him. So
I love it. Colored vinyl.
Yeah, good time to
indie store exclusive.
Reinvestigate what that guy's about, because he's good. Okay, you ready to start your ear off right?
Yes, thank you.
Folks at Rhino Records do this every year. They pick some records and do some limited edition colored vinyl pressings, as well as pick some stuff that hasn't been available in a while, and they'll repress it January, February, give you an opportunity to find some stuff that you might not have seen before. And you get this Nuggets Volume 2 has not been available. This is the great 60s garage rock compendium compiled by Lenny Kaye for the Patti Smith Group. This is really, he is so well known for this. And so you get a bunch of tracks that are on here that he would have included first time around if he couldn't. And you're going to know some of the names, you'll know the Beau Brummels, you'll know the Syndicate of Sound, Little Girl, Love and Spoonful, Swinging Medallions, but then there's a whole nother LP of stuff that you probably don't know, and man, it's all excellent. If you like 60s garage rock, this is what I'm talking about. And this is on Psychedelic Splatter vinyl.
Nuggets, baby.
Nuggets, baby. So pick this up. Good to have that, man. And
I'm still looking at all the...
There's
a lot of music on here.
Well, the songs are like 2.5 minutes,
this
right?
Is true.
You can cram a bunch of them on there.
Yeah.
And reissued one of my favorite albums of all time. This is I Just Can't Stop It. The English Street, their debut album.
Mandatory
and
listening.
we covered this. This was an expanded record store day piece with rarities and outtakes, but it gets a little pricey. Had a bunch of bonus material. This is just the full original album. Mirror in the Bathroom, Twist and Crawl, Tears of a Clown. This thing, if this is the soundtrack to your Saturday night, you're having a good time, because I love this record, man. Yeah. And if you check out go to Cactus website, Dave Wakeling did a shout out for us. Come get my record at Cactus.
That's amazing.
And he's holding the Vox Teardrop guitar while he's doing
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. That's incredible.
It's on magenta vinyl.
What's the story that he tells when the phone rings and it's Pete Townsend?
Yeah, because he couldn't figure out the tuning for Save It for Later.
Yeah. And he was sitting there with somebody, right? He was sitting there with either Dave Gilmour or Eric Clapton. They were in a conversation. They're like, what is that?
So that's gonna be a thrill.
That phone call didn't suck. Good Lord.
So good. All right. So let's keep our start our ear off right.
Let's go,
Keep
baby.
it rolling.
Let's go.
Hey, you got 2 Stevie Nicks records that, to my knowledge, have never been on LP.
Okay.
Certainly the Street Angel record from 1994. I don't think the sucker's ever been on LP, and she has so many fans out there that have been looking for this thing. I think that one was not as huge. This record definitely. I remember this record doing really well. The 2001 album, Trouble in Shangri-La. I think you got guests from like Sheryl Crow and Sheryl Crow's on here. Of course, Mike Campbell, because she's a big Heartbreakers fan, right? But these have not been on LP. And you know how you know they haven't been on LP? Look at the cover art. It's all like scanned. Like
We were talking about this. Yeah.
So still a problem when record companies discard all the
Can't
album
find the
arts.
original, so it's like, they
Gotta
just
make something
download an image
happen.
from Google.
That's went to Kinko's.
Pretty much.
Kinko's. That's how old I am. FedEx. Went to go to
FedEx,
FedEx.
whatever.
Made some copies. Okay, we're gonna end on a high note. We were talking about them earlier.
Go deep.
Let's talk about Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath by Black Sabbath, available on Smoke vinyl, appropriately. Smoke vinyl, and this is, I think, kind of the band's last great album with Ozzy. This is the last one that's like top to bottom, like totally great. Because I think those first 4 or 5 are unassailable. But you get Killing Yourself to Live, Sabracadabra, one of the great song titles from them. Great.
You can't go wrong.
Huge record, album artist. Boy, when I was a kid, like in the records, I'm like,
oh yeah, that'll freak you out. Yeah, that'll just make you lose your mind. Yeah,
I don't need to see that.
You have to go to confession after holding this album.
You probably did.
Yeah. So the thing about Sabbath is, and you know this, the collection. There's so many people that it's like, oh, it's the first 3 albums, or and people are like, no, but there's good stuff on this album. As you move through the collection, I always thought there was good stuff on all of the albums.
There
and I was never
is.
like, and I never had like the favorite album.
Yeah,
I always enjoy, because you knew what you were going to get from Ozzy, and he created that his own unique style, right, of singing, but like. Tony Iommi never stopped really writing interesting riffs.
He's the riff master.
If you just listen to it as a guitar player, you're like, wow, what? He still does it. He'll show up on a YouTube clip and they're like, Tony, what do you got? He's like, well, I was messing with this. And you're like,
people hate people.
Why
don't
try?
Care for technical ecstasy or Never Say Die.
I like Never Say Die.
Records.
Yeah, I think they're really, 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 really good records.
All right, I'm in the vinyl vault. You want to hear mine?
Hit it.
And I spent a lot of time contemplating which one I was going to pick.
You put more time into this than most of the things you toss out there. But anyway, let them know.
Hey, I'm gonna give it. I always like to go a little academic on my picks, and this is one from Houston, Texas. This is the great Houston band Oz Knozz. This is Rough Mix. It's a reissue of their classic record, recorded Houston, Texas at Sugar Hill Studios. If you were seeing shows in the late 70s and through the 80s, you saw this band. They were all over. They even got radio play on KLOL.
The perennial opening band at Cardi's.
Yeah. And then Ruben and I were talking. I saw them at
Herman Park. Opening for
Peter Frampton.
How were they?
They were cool. I didn't kind of know what to make of it. There was a lot going on there because they had a flute player. So, but
why?
Why? A little
Nate, other than
Jethro Tull.
Okay, other than Jethro Tull, or who did Daz? Was that Brick?
Yeah,
Daz,
right.
All right, so name a great song with a flute solo or flute line in it.
I don't know.
All three of our viewers are yelling at the screen right now.
What's a great Will Ferrell? I've always fancied myself a jazz flautist.
I mean, it's not like the most rocking song in the world, but Men at Work comes to mind, because that's an iconic flute line. Not the main riff, but the solo in Low Down, Boss Gags.
Oh my gosh! See, you're.
I was just thinking, but normally I'm like, if I see the flute before I hear the flute, I've already judged.
Yeah,
I've already made so many.
You're jumping off the
I've
train.
made
in
so
motion.
many decisions about what's about to happen.
Sorry, flute players out there.
Do you remember when like Yamaha was messing around with they were the first to bring the synth controller that was shaped like a alto saxophone, whatever.
Yeah, what was it?
So that like if you ended up walking into some restaurant there for about the first 2 or 3 years, there was some guy in the corner like, doing synthy guitar sounds or piano sounds or flute sounds or just I was like, and that thing was so ridiculous.
And now if you walk into a vintage instrument store,
highly collectible, highly collectible.
A bunch of loot for that.
Yeah, have you seen the price of a used guitar? I mean, come on, ridiculous.
I haven't really been looking.
But, occasionally, I'm on Reverb and I just go down a rabbit hole. All right, so look, we have to recap some stuff because again, in store coming up this Saturday.
Jane Woe, Saturday, 3 p.m. Be here. It's going to be fun. Going to be some country tunes played by some punk rockers from back in the day.
They've been
I like it. I think it's
lots of those guys have been in a bunch of different bands, and you get to see Scott Ayers play.
Yeah,
he had, and this is inside baseball, but I remember the first time I saw him play, and I was kind of a distance away, and he had this kind of, burst. I don't know what you call it, a cherry or whatever kind of burst was Strat, but it looked like really like an old one, like a really old one. And I was like, oh man, that's a cool Strat. I was not a Strat player at the time. And I got closer and closer to him. And he had one of the first run Robin Stratocasters.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Which they only made a couple of, was it the Robin or was it the Tokai? I think it was Robin. They changed the headstock because I'm sure Fender sent them the letter.
Yeah.
But it was and for years I'd see him with that guitar, man. I was like, to quote George Carlin, heavy on the covet. Heavy on the covet every time I saw that guitar, man. It just made me
so good.
It just made me a little nutty. What's coming up down the road? Any big releases we're waiting on? Any more in stores
there's all kinds of stuff. So generally, music industry, March is when you start to see everything drop. And actually, it's no accident, but that's when like South by Southwest, like a lot of conferences and stuff coincide with March because that's when records are ready to go.
A friend of mine sent me a text and she goes, hey, great idea. I've never been to South by Southwest. We should go. My text reply to her was no, period.
I remember the last time I was there, I went to a show and
What year?
I have a friend that was this is 12 years ago, I think was the last time I went. Because, I think
it was 10 years for me.
So once you have children, forget going anywhere on spring break. You're hanging out with kids, which is all great.
Even
you're just trading greatness.
It is just unorganized chaos now. It's a mess.
The last time I was meeting someone there, and I foolishly got in a cab, and they got there faster walking.
It's ridiculous. I interviewed the guys from Death Cab. We went there to grab a couple of interviews. I had Death Cab. I had who else did we get after that?
It's a big get.
Blue October. And I think the new album was coming out, and we had one other interview. Hanson.
Oh, sweet. I like Hanson.
But I don't know if they were in Austin recording or they wanted to play music from their album, but we had to go to a recording studio to meet them.
Oh, wow.
And they were wonderful.
Yeah, they're cool.
I had no idea. I didn't know what I was walking into.
Oklahoma boys, right?
Yeah, and this thing just came across my desk. I'm like, what the hell? Let's go talk to Hanson.
Yeah.
And they were great. They were really, really
they have a great rep for being cool and
nice guys.
Fans.
They actually played a very early version of Fox Rocks at the station. They came in on a Friday morning and did an acoustic set. All right, guys, that's it for time. We've got a lot more stuff coming up next week. Releases, stuff that materializes out of the ether that
we can't tell you,
guys. We can't tell you because it's top secret. All right, so we'll see you next time. Hit the share button. Make sure that you tell all of your friends and family.
Sharing is so nice.
Sharing is so nice. And download the Fox Local app, and you can go back on your smart TV and watch all the drops.
Any of them?
Every season.
Whoa.
Dating back to the origins of time. We're out of here. Peace.
That's the fastest cut.